Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Divine Awakenings. So, this will be episode 6 now, and I just really feel so honored and blessed to be able to sit here with what I would like to call as friends who are just really, shaping the way to help raise a collective consciousness and to really show how them stepping into their purpose is really just helping others to do the same. And so I'm really excited to have Barbara join us today. And Barbara is from the Goddess Garden. She is an amazing healer, channel, and yeah, she has supported me and many others with bringing community together. And yeah, really excited to have you here, Barbara. Thank you so much for being on my channel. And yeah, so how is life showing up for you right now? What is present for you in your life?
Wow. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Sarah. Well, my word for this year was culmination.
Mm,
I've been on my path for a long time and I have various strands to what I do. I do healing work and channeling, but I'm also an artist as well, and I make ceramics. And it's become very clear in recent years that these bring through the same energies that I bring through when I'm channeling. They are channeled. And so, really, what's showing up for me is bringing it all together. I'm now doing mindful clay workshops. So, we're tuning in to what do we need to bring through, which is really beautiful. And as Sarah said, yeah, doing events, bringing people together is a big thing for me, but also expanding with my offerings and what I do. So, alongside one to one readings, I also do longer term programs as well, which bring even deeper transformation.
yeah, beautiful. And these, programs that you're doing that's involving these deeper transformations, what are the key things that you're witnessing from your clients, would you say, that is transformational?
Well, the transformation really, I think, is bringing through the soul, is working at a soul level and bringing the soul into physical embodiment and also supporting that soul to really manifest and live out their true life purpose.
Mm,
So when I'm working with spirit, it's on an energy level, but it's also guidance as well. And so, for instance, I have a client who has been running tours of well known places and sacred places, such as Glastonbury and places like that. But her life purpose is to actually run her own tours and make them much more spiritual. And because she's very connected to these places through her past lives, she's actually able to support people's awakening by taking them there. So there's been a lot of it's been absolutely amazing working with her. We've been activating the sites, we've been clearing the sites from corrupt energies, and there's been guidance. And what also happens is that people's gifts come online as well. So, she's been getting her own guidance about it, and she's gone from going, I really don't know what I'm going to do, just saying, right, I want to start in September and I want 4 people and it's going to be this, and it's like, so it's really wonderful for me to really see people stepping into their path, basically.
yeah.
There's a lot of healing work as well involved. So
Yeah,
I did all
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
And obviously, how did this all come about? Like, did you was you always like connected to spirit as a child, or has this been a progression, or how has it kind of played out for you?
Well, yeah, I didn't know about all this as a child, and I wouldn't say I had any particular experiences, except that I felt very connected to nature, and I was very
Mm,
fortunate to go to a Rudolf Steiner school or a Waldorf school. I don't know if you know about them, but where all it's Christian, but it's also celebrates all the festivals, and it's very connected with nature and a lot of storytelling. So it gave me a great sense of wonder, I think, and the mystery and the magic of everything. And but it wasn't until I've been thinking about this morning about what to say to you, and I would say that my awakening has happened. Really, it's been facilitated through others suddenly presenting me with information or an event where I really woke up to who I was. So the first one was to support my artwork. I worked in a lot of shops and those kind of part-time jobs. And I had a job in a health food shop. And one of the people who worked there afterwards told me that she'd got me the job because she said, I knew immediately that you were like me. And she's an astrologer, and she looked at my chart and she said, "You're a healer. You can see into the astral realms." And I was 26 and I said, "What's that?" I didn't know, I couldn't relate to it at all.
Mm.
Then when I was 31, I was invited to go to a meditation evening, and I had an experience then where I connected with a friend of mine's brother. And it turned out that he'd actually passed over that night, and he'd given me a message for his sister, who was my friend. And I think it was then that I realized that I had a gift. And I thought, right, I want to use this to help people. And so from then on, I committed to it. And it all just, I think once you do that, once you say to the universe, I want to do this, it will just bring you the people and the opportunities that you need to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and how have you been able to cultivate like a level of trust with being really able to just follow those little nudges? And the mind's very powerful, right? It's going to create a lot of stories as to not
Yeah,
to follow it. So how have you been able to do that?
that's really interesting. I think what happened was I joined a circle. Um, One thing led to another, and it was through spiritualism. And we were sitting to try and get clairvoyance. And then I was actually in a physical circle doing seances for 10 years, which was amazing. And in that, I think I developed the trust because we were working with these guides week in, week out. And it was like being at school with the masters. They were spirit guides who'd had earthly lives, and they put us through our paces. We had homework, and we learned so much. We had to do a lot of personal development. And during that time, because we were sitting in the dark, they started working on my voice and my breathing,
Mm,
because I wasn't the main medium. We had another medium who channeled every week. But then I started channeling. One week a word came out, and then more and more. So by that time, because it was very gradual over a few months, people said to me, "But how do you trust?" But because I knew the guides and they always were so loving, I've never had a negative experience, I wouldn't say. We always did it properly. We always said our prayers. And so I felt safe because it
mm,
was very gradual for me. And when they first started using my voice, it was on the in breath. So they were learning to use my voice box and my breathing, and it sounded really weird at first. And then they got used to it. And because I also saw other as in the terminology we're using then, mediums. Um, I saw how it worked and I understood. And I think the main thing for me was I was just so excited. I was
mm,
just, I couldn't get enough of it. Um, so throughout my 30s, really, I was very involved with that. And that was all I wanted, really, was to develop and to help people.
yeah. Would you say this was like you just knew that this was part of your purpose to channel? Was it just always like, oh, I can channel, but you didn't think you would do this as part of your like work?
Well, the thing was that the friend who was the astrologer right at the beginning, she said, you've got Saturn in Capricorn, you're going to develop, you're going to have your main career purpose in your later life. And so
Oh,
I always knew that there was going to come a time when it was going to be a really big part of my life.
mm,
And so I was always working towards that. And another key moment for me was going to see an aura artist who drew my aura. And again, everybody I met, I was drawn to all these people, and they all seemed to see something in me, and they all seemed to encourage me. Um, Even though I had very low self-esteem at that point, people always treated me with great respect, as if, like, you're going to do something. And I felt that as well. So
mm,
I've been extremely lucky with all the help that I've had, really, and the
mm.
support and the people
Yeah.
I've worked with.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that with you, that your connection, like I just knew, I was like, yeah, when I first met you. So yeah, I'm not surprised everybody else felt that. And so you talked about, you went through a lot of training in that 10 years, and these will be the spirit guides. So what did that look like? Like, did they have to whip out, how paint us a picture of, because on this spiritual journey, one thing that's really, I kind of like say to my friends and even my sister, it's like, if you are really on a spiritual path, there are no shortcuts. You do have to, you have to follow the path of doing the work. You can't bypass anything. You can try, but it's going to come back. And so, you know, you can't really go deep in your spiritual practice and then go out partying on the weekends and drinking, and it just doesn't work hand in hand. I've been there, I've done that, it doesn't work. And so what does that look like? What did that look like for you?
The progression, really.
The
And
training, yeah, and what the guides were kind of like.
well, we had one who was very strict, who gave us homework, and we had one very gentle one,
Mm,
and they were great. But we had to do things like face our fears.
right, yeah.
Remember, we were told to do things. I had a bit of a fear of traveling because my father had gone to work one day and died and not come home, and so it given me a fear as a 6-year old that it wasn't very safe out there. And we were sent off to various countries, and I remember that was a really big thing for me. Um, Initially, I went to Greece for a week, and most people would say, oh, fantastic. But for me, it was really scary. But then I
Mm,
actually went to Japan for 2 weeks on my own, and that really got me over it.
wow, yeah.
But we had to study different religions. We had to learn things off by heart. We had to talk about, yeah, we had to talk to each other about what we found difficult about each other. That really
Mm,
didn't go down. We had some older, well, anyway, yeah, it was things like that.
wow, yeah.
Mm. And
Yeah.
yes, it was very creative. And we did actually have visitors in as well to experience it. But I think, yeah, that's not the main thing here.
Mm,
I would also say that um, developmentally, another big thing was working with specific other people. For instance, there was another channel I was sitting with, and I did a course with her, and I went into that course, channeling spirit guides, and I came out channeling ascended masters and archangels. So I
mm,
would say that working with a spiritual teacher can be really big in terms of your development. When you commit to a period of time, and this comes back to the container idea again, where the energy is held for that time rather than just dipping in and out, um, amazing things happen.
yeah. And I think because when you're in a container, you feel safe, right, don't you? And think so it helps with that. Um, so in terms of like was the most like pivotal moment then, would you say? And there probably have been quite a few where it was just like, was it when you started just channeling this aha moment, or have you had other like these divine awakening moments throughout your journey up until now?
I think in a way it's been really extraordinary, from realizing I could channel from people's higher selves, people who are alive here. But I think in a way the biggest one was, this is one of my goddess bowls. This was the first one I made. And I realized that I could channel from them.
Mm,
And so not only am I bringing these things through, but they also have a message and a voice themselves. And they are to work with us just in the way that a crystal does, so that they receive your energy and they upgrade it and they send it back. And they are also upgrading at the same time. And apparently crystals do as well when we work with them. And realizing that I could channel from objects like crystals or feathers, or, I didn't know these things were possible. And so in my 50s, all this development happened. I was busy being a mum in my 40s, and I was doing the odd reading here and there. And I was in a band as well after the circle finished. But then in my 50s, it was really big developmental moves forwards into higher level beings, bringing through, yeah, like earth guardians. I didn't know about earth guardians, and suddenly they're talking through me. It's things like that. It's just been amazing,
mm,
quite extraordinary. And it's kind of, I think any of us on a journey, we're uncovering who we really are as a soul. And we will have had lifetimes where we've been working at a very high level, advanced level with these gifts. But then they've all been closed down either for safekeeping during persecution, or when we're born, we come in with amnesia and then we start
mm,
to realize who we are again. So,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you think it's so you believe it's within every single one of us that we can all channel?
Um, I think probably yes, because we've all have an intuition, we all have a higher self. And if we all
Mm,
learn to connect with that, I think most people have had those nudges where they've just felt to go in a shop, and or
mm,
they've just thought, no, I'm not going to get that train, I'm going to do this, and something's happened. But what I would say is that for some of us, we have done this, as I said, at a high level. And so not everybody's meant to come in and do this as a channel or a healer. Do you see what I mean?
mm,
I think everyone, in a way, like the way meditation has come in now, and most people know about it and realize the benefits.
mm,
And I can't, this is really, I don't really have the answer to this, but I think just in the same way that people say everyone can sing or everyone can paint, I think,
mm.
yeah, it can be
Yeah,
developed. It can be developed.
yeah, exactly. And for those that really are wanting to like really speak to their guides or just want to learn to channel, what would you say to those people watching is like the first step that they can do to an action they can take to even start moving in that direction?
I guess it's a very different world to when I was developing, there wasn't any internet then, and I was going to talks and reading books.
Mm,
Now everything's online, but I think um, probably what's coming through now is really to join a group or a circle, because I think when you join together with others, it's very powerful and you're held.
mm,
And they used to call it a development circle. I don't know what they'd call it now, but where you're going every week or regularly, and you're practicing basically, and you're in that environment. And there again, I think one of the things I do is I hold space energetically. And I think that's what you need ultimately. You can practice on your own, but when you're in a group, the space is held and the energy is there, and it's a safe space held by somebody who is knows what they're doing and knows how to support you. Because I think the other thing to say about this journey is that it will bring up pain as well. It will bring up difficult stuff and emotional, you have to feel it to heal it, as they say.
mm,
So it's not, there's wonderful aha moments, and then there's moments when you have to go into your grief or whatever it is that you've got, or your past life trauma.
Mm,
Well, like you were saying, you can't really avoid that on this path.
no. And that's why, in the spiritual community it can be, it's all rainbows and unicorns. It really isn't. There's, it's we
And
go on the descend and the ascend, don't we? And we have to go to the depths and we have to kind of feel it to heal it. And so when you're on that descend, for you, what kind of tools and techniques do you kind of like use at your tool belt, shall we say, to help you get through that? Do you connect in with your guides, or do you think, I don't want to connect with my guides, I'm feeling grief or I'm feeling sadness and anger right now, I don't even want to try and connect? How do you like navigate through that?
well, I think that spirit tends to orchestrate it and will sometimes create a space in your life where you're maybe not working as much.
Yeah.
So, um, what I would say is the biggest thing is having other friends who are on a similar path. I don't think I could have done it without my friends who understood. And I think the more, because we're energy beings, we are constantly connecting. We're, like attracts like. So the
Yes.
more you get into who you are, the more you will attract people like you.
Mm,
And I would say that's one of the most important things, again, part of a group, because we need that support.
mm,
And so for me, I think a lot of it was just sitting with it. When it
mm,
comes through, and it can be, we've been taught to avoid that at all costs, to keep distracted. But actually, what we need to do is allow it to go, because often it's old pain and it just has to be felt to be released.
mm,
But it's not pleasant. So there was a time for me when my son left home, was at uni, I was divorced, and I was living on my own, and working from home. And yeah, that was a time really. And then we went into lockdown. I had cataracts, couldn't see very much, and I just had to sit with it all really. And it was hard,
mm.
but it was really, really necessary. So it won't be like that for everyone.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's what I suppose what I would say is it's being held, and it's that trust. To come back to the trust really.
Mm.
Um, the only way is through, basically.
It is, yeah. And that's kind of like what you were saying back to, facing your fears, right? Like, you had to go to a place like Japan to get over a fear.
Yeah,
And that is one of the things that I've really realized, like literally the only way to overcome like for me, I had a fear of like speaking up. I've had done a lot of work around my throat chakra and just even like expressing and all of this. And me doing all of this, like I see the training that I've gone through, and I remember the fear of even asking a question in front of a group, and now it's kind of like the only way to do it is get through it, is to just do it, right? And so, and it gets easier and easier, and fear is false evidence appearing real. So it's just this illusion, and what we put ourselves through, right, with all of that. So um yeah, we
yeah.
just have to go through it.
I suppose there's releasing the trauma or those sort of fears, and then sorry, what did you just say? I had it in my head. Um,
Feeling it to heal it, really.
um, the stepping up. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Sorry.
Mm,
Elizabeth Peru says you only know how capable you are by doing it, and I think that's really good. We just, it's like anything, like learning an instrument. It takes a lot of practice, and it just as you say, it becomes easier.
mm,
Making your first video or whatever is not easy, but
mm,
again, I think it's coming back to the intention of wanting to be of service. And when you make it into a sacred ceremony and something that has is going to help people, then that makes it easier.
mm. Is that what you kind of said to yourself? Like, okay, I've got these abilities now. I really want to be of service, and I'm just going to step into this fully? Was that kind of like the declaration you said and then things
I
aligned, or
do.
how did it work?
Yeah, I guess every morning I'm asking, how may I serve?
Yeah.
Mm. And I think because I'd always been told that I was going to do this, you know, when lockdown came, it was like I'd been teaching pottery for 30 years and I didn't really want to do it anymore. And it was like, this is it. This is a little bit earlier than I had thought, but this is where we make the switch into making this my full-time work.
Mm.
Mm. So yeah, is that
Yeah.
answering?
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I think for, we want to step into our purpose. We want to be like, we want to do it now, but spirit, higher self, we don't really know how it's going to play out. Like you said, you thought it would have been a bit later, but it's come sooner. So this is one of the things, like, because I have another job as well, but I wanted to step into my full-time purpose work. And there's elements where it's like, just be present and just allow, just be who you are, which is really something that I'm just accepting, and just knowing that everything is happening for me. And when we truly know that, like, we actually don't need to do anything. We just need to allow life to show us the next move and work with creation. And there's this saying that I'm listening to this audiobook at the moment, and it's like, we are the creators of our own creation. And it's just like, I just find it so beautiful. And um, I just love that. And so, in terms of how it works with you and channeling, because there's different ways people channel, how does it work with you? Like, do you hear a voice? Do you hear, like, how does it work?
Well, it began with spirit speaking directly through me using my voice. So they would be saying, this is Isis of the Nile or whatever. Um, and then in my 50s, I started developing what I'd call more intuitive um, channeling, where I see it. So I would say, we're in the temple with Isis. She's taking us into this room, you know, this is happening. And I describe so I'm seeing it. And then I would also be able to say, and she is saying, I would describe what she's saying. So those two ways of working are quite different. And the direct, well, it used to be called trance mediumship. That was the first thing that developed. Then the intuitive came through. Then it's moved as well into, I think I wasn't aware of the energy work. I was thinking it was mostly about the messages, but actually the biggest part of it is the energy work. And that could take the form of rebalancing the body, you know, rebalancing the chakras, removing stuck energies. And again, I see that. So,
Mm,
for instance, somebody had been in a difficult relationship and I was shown like this kind of really knotty ivy all around her spine, you
mm,
know, which was his energy. And that is very carefully removed. So they show it to me visually. Often Saint Germain will come in with a violet flame and transmute. Because what happens is when they release negativity, it's actually transmuted into healing light, which is wonderful. So as you're healing, you're actually sending out healing as well.
mm,
It's dark stuff. So I'm shown what's being done. Also, they do a lot of timeline healing. And again, this has just been through my experience of doing the channeling. And they'll show me like a line. It's usually like a golden line, but it can be different. And you have a timeline of all your past lives, but you also have a timeline from your mother and your father. And if there's been some kind of a trauma and any lives on those timelines, that can block the flow of the energy. Because what I've learned is that the ancestors, or our past selves, I suppose, are wanting to send us energy all the time and support us. And we choose our families for those qualities. But sometimes there's been damage, and so we're not getting the full energy, if you see what I mean. So they do work with that.
mm,
Or
mm,
past life trauma. Yeah, often it's past life trauma. And so when that's healed at a soul level, then it integrates through into the physical level. So you'll feel lighter, and you'll find that you can move forward with things that you were maybe blocked on. And but that takes a bit of time.
Mm, mm,
Um, usually at least a couple of weeks, sometimes longer,
yeah.
as the body has to recalibrate to the different energy balance. And again, so I'm shown all that, I guess, quite visually, actually.
Mm,
Yeah. Um,
yeah.
the other thing that they will often do is kind of sacred ceremonies, because I work with twin flames, and these are high, how can we call it? Well, it's a very sacred life purpose, with two souls carrying the same soul vibration. And when I work with them, often there's a celebration of where they're at on their journey, which can be really beautiful. And it will be presented in a setting, and they may be giving each other a gift, or they may be connecting through the chakras or whatever. And that will be overseen by a high being. Yeah.
Yeah. And the twin flame journey, there's a lot of different um kind of viewpoints on that, isn't there, on how the twin flame journey is for many people. And so yeah, I've done one of your channelings, meditations rather. And would you say that everybody has a twin flame and we're destined, or everybody is destined to connect with them in this lifetime?
No, what we're told and what comes through most people is that there is 144,000 twin flames, and there are a particular soul group who have opted to come back and work together this at this time to help with the raising of consciousness, because when the masculine and feminine counterpart come together, because they have the same soul blueprint, and they may have, it's an eternal journey, and it's a soul that was split and is then coming, wanting to come back and unite, basically. I just have to say a bit about this. If you don't know about twin flames, the journey to that is really becoming the best version of yourself and the most healed version. And then you will attract your twin because of your energy. They can't resist that same energy. And when they're
Mm,
together, the energy that they send out is really vastly multiplied. So it's incredibly powerful healing energy. And the twin flame journey is a journey of service ultimately.
mm,
There's a romantic side as well, but it's really about the energy work.
yeah.
And so it's a soul group. And when I work with twin flames, I'm shown the family of light, which is all the couples, often as a big circle, because they're all supporting each other all the time. And I come back to that support that I mentioned earlier. So when any one is healing, all the group is there for them, and the group is receiving that healing as well.
Mm,
So it's kind of all for one and one for all.
yeah, yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
But that's really lovely.
Yeah, it's not always easy, the twin flame journey, for a lot of people, because like you say, it's the most healed version of yourself. So you've got to go through a lot of the dark night of the souls and really stripping away at anything that is not you, really. So, which isn't always easy.
No, and that comes really back to what I was talking about earlier. That was all. And when you've met them, usually what happens is you meet them, and that kicks off or catalyzes your process of healing, and yeah, really
Yeah.
becoming who you are. And they are energetically supporting you, and you are, as the feminine, leading. And as you heal and become more and more embodied, so that energy goes to them, and they also become to the
Mm,
masculine counterpart also, but it's in a less conscious way.
yeah, of course. And in terms of soulmates, could you still have I suppose still have a powerful kind of union, can't you? Because you're still going to be reflecting back to each other, because everything's a mirror. But you just won't be going deeper into it like a twin flame, and they will have the unique maybe codes or
Mm. Soulmate, I think we can have many soulmates, and I
mm,
think it gets a bit confused sometimes about the difference. But
yeah.
soulmates are souls who we've had close connections with in the past.
Mhm.
So there's a very deep bond, but the twin flame kind of goes beyond all of those.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
slightly different level, and it's kind of non-negotiable. It just is.
Mm.
And soulmates, I think, again, come for different reasons.
Yeah.
But, but it's all, yeah, it's all wonderful, I think. I think
Mm.
the way that spirit orchestrate everything,
Mhm.
when you start to, as you said earlier, when you start to let go and realize that it's being held, and that's quite a challenging thing for us because we've been taught that we must control everything, and but when we start to feel safe enough to let go, and
Mm.
we see how incredible the orchestration is, you know, how they do it, you meet the right person at the right moment,
Mm.
job or whatever it is that you're doing. And when you get into that flow, it is amazing.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize how deep this kind of like orchestration and plan, it goes beyond anything that the human can ever imagine. Because I'm not religious.
Mm.
I've never read the Bible, but I'm becoming really deep in my connection with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene more, and it's just been profound. It's like changing my life, and prayers coming into my life. And so I'm delving into a lot of like books around Yeshua and his journey and things like that. And I'm realizing like Source, create prime creator God, has had a plan. Because I've just read grandmother Anna, grandmother of Jesus, and oh my God, it's absolutely life changing for me. And I'm just thinking the plan for right now, because obviously we're going through a shift in consciousness. The whole planet is ascending into higher states of consciousness, so we can finally get back to our natural state and shift into 5D. But this plan has been there for thousands of years, and the seeds have been planted, and way before even Yeshua came to, help us remind us of who we are. And um, so yeah, I'm realizing that actually I just need to get myself out of the way, because there is a grander plan for me personally and collectively. And so when we can truly hand it over, takes the pressure off, right? But we like to control and hold on. So it's just a process of letting go, isn't it? Constantly. And we are gonna, yeah, did you want to say something on that?
I was just going to say it's about trust as well. That's where trust comes in. And I think it's about tuning in, isn't it? And getting your own intuitive guidance and just knowing the next step, really.
Yeah.
Following that, taking aligned action. Because I
Mm,
think something I've learned is that we have to take action. We
yeah.
can't just sit there and
And
it's all going to amazingly happen. We have to actually take action in the world. But
yeah.
um, but we are master creators basically, and we are co-creating with the universe all the time.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And when
Yeah,
you say aligned action, like for a lot of people, like they might be thinking, well, how do I know if it's aligned action? What would you say to them?
I would say, does it fit in with your goal? Is it moving you towards your goal? So is it aligned with where you want to go? Because if it's not, if it's pulling you away from that or putting, because it's very much about where we put our energy, and we want to follow that path. So if it supports where we're going, then that's great.
Mm, mm,
It aligns, I guess, and energetically as well.
mm.
You can tell by, does it feel light or heavy when you
Yeah.
think about it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got shivers when you said that. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that. I definitely like follow the energy. Yeah, like
You
yeah.
can also get yes and no with your body, but that's another thing.
Yeah, with kinesiology, muscle testing, which I do use quite a lot as well. But yeah. And like I was talking about, there's a lot happening right now. There's a lot of shifts happening on the planet. And I think this is why I'm really stepping up a little bit more, and just, even if these videos help one person, that's all that matters, right? And so, from your perspective, because we are going to have the delight of getting some channeled guidance coming through for anybody watching, that it might help. But Oh, it would be great, obviously, to get some insight from Spirit. But from your perspective, where do you think we're going? What do you feel intuitively is happening right now on the planet, which was shifting into higher states of consciousness? What are we being asked to do?
Well, we're being asked to go from fear into love, basically, and from surviving to thriving,
Mm,
and really to come into our hearts, I think, because when we're in a place of love, then we come into a place of caring, don't we? There's been a lot of, that's quite a big question, really, but I think in its simplified version, that's what it is. And we're bringing more and more and more light. The more we expand into who we are, the brighter we're shining. And that is lighting up. That's why all this darkness is coming up, because of the light.
mm,
Basically, we're moving into a whole new way of being as one family, really.
mm,
I guess that's the goal. And
mm,
also within the multiverse, because as Metatron says, who is an ascended master, he works with all the planets and the heavenly bodies, and he's working with us so that we can bring the energy of the earth up so that the earth is in balance with everything else. So it's on all different levels, really.
mm.
But yes, love and light.
It,
Peace.
yeah, yeah, totally agree. It is moving out of the head into the heart, from that fear to more love, isn't it? Definitely, yeah.
I guess to live in harmony as well, because we are one with all, we are part of nature. That's the thing, we're not separate. And so what we do is affecting everything. And so it's coming back to that balance, really, of living with respect and in tandem, in, there's a word, but it's escaping me, but living together with everything in harmony and balance.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And it'll be great to see what message Spirit has today, if you're open to connecting in at all.
Yes, that's fine. Do you want to have a question, or shall I just ask what would like to come through for those who?
Yeah, let's see what Spirit feels, because energetically is needed right now for everybody watching.
Okay, well, we're just doing a little bit of energy clearing for whoever's watching, just to take away. I'm feeling that there's a lot of stress, so they're just, whoever's watching, just take a couple of deep breaths now and just breathe out and let it all go, whatever it is you're carrying, and just feel your feet on the ground and just let go for a moment. You're completely safe, you're completely held. And Spirit are just bringing in that energy of oneness with all, because we are all part of God's creation. We all are actually acting as one energy. Going into that, this is almost like a very mini meditation to help you to just relax. But I mentioned her earlier. We've got Isis of the Nile, and she's going to speak. Isis of the Nile, greetings. Thank you, beautiful souls, for connecting here at this time of great change upon the earth plane. I wish just to come to bring you some words of comfort at this time, to know that you are so held and that you are exactly where you need to be. And if you are watching this video, then you are ready to move forward upon your path. You are ready to evolve into a truer version of you. For you have a beautiful soul that is unique. No other is exactly the same. Unless, of course, you are a divine counterpart or twin flame, but that is something for another day. I speak to you as one beautiful light emanating forth upon this earth at this time. Know that your light is needed, and just by being here within your human body, are you beaming out that light all the time, 24/7. And that light is part of a huge light. It's created by all souls. And the more that you become your true self, so your light brightens and you become your true light. And the way to get this light to brighten is to go into a state of joy, to find joy as much as you can in your life, to focus on what makes you happy, to do activities that make you happy. For when you are in a state of joy, it is sent out to others, and it is light and it is bright. And you are connecting all the time with all souls, with all creation. And so the more joyful that you are, the more light you bring to all creation. In Egypt, where I am still, we worship the sun, the light that brings life. And we also worship the water, the sacred Nile, which is also needed for life. So we need the light, but we also need the water, we need the cleansing, and we need the emotions. I wish to tell you that it is all right for you to feel your emotions, to let them flow and release. For the water is purifying and cleansing and healing. It is deeply healing. Just for one moment, we are bringing you into alignment with the constellation of your birth. Well, this is what our temples were built for, with the beautiful windows in the roof to allow in the energies of the stars. Just know that as you listen to this transmission, you are connecting more deeply with your own birth signature constellation, which is what you chose to work with this lifetime. And this short transmission will help you to connect more deeply with who you truly are and what you have come to do. With my love, for I am Isis of the Nile, always here for you throughout all time and space. So it is. So just knowing that you have received an energy upgrade from this transmission, even though it is short, yet it is powerful. And that your physical vehicle will respond to it over the next few days. All is well. It is safe to be you on your unique journey. You have much to offer, and Spirit are so grateful for you and all you do. Take me a moment to come back.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. Wow, I really felt the energy. It was just so beautiful. I'm sure everybody who's watching can really feel that. And it's real. I just feel really like happy. And I think the joy is, she's saying about the joy, and that's one of the things that I've really been focusing on, is just we can choose to feel joy in any moment. Like it's here for us now. And so, like, as soon as I wake up, I'm connecting into the joy that's within me, connecting in with creator and the magic, and it's all here for us. It's a choice, right? So when we're like, feeling a little bit of, where maybe victim consciousness is dropping in, it's like we can choose to shift that straight away. And when we are in joy, we are helping the collective on exponential levels that we can't even understand from the conscious mind as a human, because more of us in our heart, that light that emanates out is like worth so much, isn't it? I think they say that it's worth, there's many thousands it can impact by one being in their heart rather than none. I can't remember, something like that. So um thank you for all the work that you're doing, and the dedication and the discipline and your service. And because yeah, it's not, this path isn't always easy. It's not rainbows and unicorns. Like, we're really shining a light on the darkness that is within in us, and integrating that back within ourselves, and loving all of those parts of us. And it can be challenging, but on the flip side, there is so much joy on the other hand as well. And I wouldn't change this for the world, really, and I'm sure you wouldn't either.
No, and we are able, I do believe this, we're not given anything we can't handle. And actually, as you said earlier, it's for us.
Mhm.
And when you start to look at how you've grown out of the difficult times, then you really see that, I think.
Mhm.
I feel hugely empowered by
Mhm.
the challenging life changes I've made.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well,
Well, thank you so much, Barbara, for yeah, coming on and bringing a message through. And if you would like to share with people how they can work with you, if they want a reading or channeled reading, then share.
yeah. Well, I offer 1 hour readings. Shall I just, we can put a link on this, can't
Yeah,
we?
yeah. You can send me the details, put a link in.
Yeah. So at the moment, I offer a 1 hour reading where we can address a particular issue, or you can just come and spirit know exactly what's going on for you. So, some people just say, I just like to experience it, and I trust that what I need will come through. I also do a 2 month container program, which is 4 sessions. So one session every 2 weeks, where we can go deeper into really connecting with who you are and your life purpose. And I offer a 4 month program for twin flames, where we look at the connection between the two, healing both, communicating, and guidance for your mission together and separately. So that is a deep journey, and there's a lot of healing in that as well. But again, really taking you through to your next level you. I'm also going to be offering a 1 year program, which I haven't created yet, but that's coming.
Mm.
But if you'd just like to try, I've also got, from next month, I'm going to be offering 30-minute session for £33, which is under half what I charge. A reading is £100 or £70 concession.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a way of coming in with a question or just experience working with me. you could feel the energy then, and that was, I don't know how many minutes. So in 15
Mm.
minutes we can do quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely powerful. Highly recommend, Barbara. And do you have any parting words you would like to share before we close?
Um, just quickly to say, if you're local as well, that I offer in-person events like the Goddess Garden that you
Mhm,
mentioned,
mhm.
play sessions, but it's all on my link tree or my website.
Yeah, I'll link
Yeah,
everything below.
I'd just like to say, trust yourself and know that you are here for a reason, and that you are here, you are needed, and your life matters.
Mm,
So nothing you do is wasted. And spirit always say, even if you're not doing anything, you're just here, it's having a huge difference. So just like to encourage you to follow your path and really find joy in being the unique person that you are and shining your light, because nobody else is the same as you.
mm.
We're taught to conform, but actually it's beautiful to be your own unique soul expression. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Great parting words. And thank you everybody for tuning in, for watching. And please do like, subscribe, and we'll keep doing these videos. Yeah, as you know, there's more and more people that want to share their journey, and it can help. So we will continue to do that as that's happening. So thanks everybody, and thanks for being in. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.